Before going into content, please like this video and subscribe. My subscribers count is too low, so I even hid my subscribers count. I'm new YouTuber, so please subscribe my channel, guys.
Imagine being taken from your family and loved ones, never knowing if you'll see them again. This is the reality for thousands of kidnapping victims around the world. In this video, we'll explore some of the most shocking longest kidnapping cases in history. Number 5. Tanya Kach was just 15 years old when she was kidnapped in 1996 by John Macaulay, who was a family friend. Macaulay had been a familiar figure in Tanya's life, which made it easier for him to manipulate her. He lured her away from her home in Pennsylvania, promising her a better life and freedom from her family. Once he had taken her, Macaulay kept Tanya in a small, makeshift room in his home, where she was isolated from the outside world. He exerted complete control over her, using psychological manipulation and threats to ensure her compliance. Over the years, Tanya endured significant emotional and physical abuse, and she was made to believe that no one would come looking for her. Despite the horrific circumstances, Tanya managed to maintain a sense of hope. In 2006, after nearly a decade in captivity, she seized an opportunity to escape. She approached a local convenience store and asked for help, which led to her being reunited with her family and the authorities being alerted. Tanya's story gained national attention, and she became an advocate for victims of kidnapping and abuse. Number 4. Michelle Knight, Gina De Jesus, and Amanda Berry were kidnapped by Ariel Castro in Cleveland, Ohio, between 2002 and 2004. Michelle, who was 20 years old at the time, was kidnapped on August 23, 2002, while walking home from her cousin's house. Amanda, who was 16 years old, was kidnapped on April 21, 2003, while walking home from her job at a Burger King restaurant. Gina, who was 14 years old, was kidnapped on April 2, 2004, while walking home from school. The three women were held captive in Castro's home, located at 2207 Seymour Avenue in Cleveland's Tremont neighborhood, where they were subjected to physical, emotional, and psychological abuse, and were forced to live in cramped and squalid conditions. They were chained to walls, beds, and other objects, and were denied access to basic necessities like food, water, and medical care. Castro's abuse was not limited to physical violence, as he also subjected the women to psychological manipulation and mind games, forcing them to endure prolonged periods of isolation and sensory deprivation. The women were also forced to adopt new names and identities, and were told that they would never be found or rescued. Despite being held captive for years, the women never gave up hope, and on May 6, 2013, Amanda Berry managed to escape from the house by breaking through a door and calling for help. She was aided by a neighbor, Charles Ramsey, who helped her contact the police, leading to the rescue of Michelle and Gina. Ariel Castro was subsequently arrested, charged, and convicted of multiple counts of kidnapping, rape, and murder, and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole before committing suicide in his prison cell on September 3, 2013. Number 3. The kidnapping of Jaycee Lee Dugard is a harrowing story that began on June 10, 1991, when she was just 11 years old. Jaycee was abducted while walking to her bus stop in South Lake Tahoe, California. A man named Philip Garrido, along with his wife Nancy, approached her in a vehicle. Philip, posing as a law enforcement officer, claimed that Jaycee was being taken for her safety. He forced her into the car and drove her to his home, where she would be held captive for the next 18 years. During her captivity, Jaycee was subjected to unimaginable circumstances. The Garridos kept her hidden in a series of sheds and tents in their backyard, isolating her from the outside world. Over time, Jaycee was manipulated and coerced into believing that she was part of a family with the Garridos. Philip Garrido raped her multiple times, and she ultimately gave birth to two daughters while in captivity, both of whom were fathered by him. Jaycee's disappearance sparked a massive search effort, but despite extensive investigations, she remained missing for nearly 2 decades. It wasn't until August 2009 that her story took a dramatic turn. Philip Garrido was questioned by law enforcement about his suspicious behavior, and during this encounter, Jaycee was able to reveal her identity and the truth about her situation. Authorities quickly intervened, leading to her rescue. The case received widespread media coverage, highlighting issues related to abduction, the psychological impact of captivity, and the failures of the system that allowed her to remain missing for so long. Jaycee Lee Dugard's story is one of resilience and survival, and she has since become an advocate for other victims of abduction, sharing her experiences to raise awareness and promote change. She has since published a memoir, A Stolen Life, detailing her experiences during her captivity. Number 2. Elizabeth Fritzl was kidnapped by her father, Joseph Fritzl, in 1984 when she was just 18 years old. Joseph lured her into the basement of their family home in Amstetten, Austria, under the guise of showing her a secret area. Once there, he locked her in a soundproof cellar, where she would remain for the next 24 years. During her captivity, Joseph repeatedly assaulted Elizabeth and fathered 7 children with her. One of the children died shortly after birth, while the others were raised in the cellar, with Elizabeth as their primary caregiver. Joseph would occasionally visit the cellar, bringing food and supplies, but he also manipulated and controlled Elizabeth, instilling fear in her about the outside world. Elizabeth's situation remained hidden for years until 2008, when one of her children, Kirsten, fell seriously ill. Joseph took Kirsten to the hospital, and Elizabeth seized this opportunity to reveal her identity and the truth about her captivity to the authorities. The police were shocked by the discovery and quickly rescued Elizabeth and her remaining children from the basement. Joseph Fritzl was arrested and later tried for his crimes. In 2009, he was sentenced to life in prison for murder, enslavement, and sexual abuse. Elizabeth's story gained international attention, highlighting the extreme cases of familial abuse and the psychological impact of long-term captivity. After her release, Elizabeth sought to rebuild her life and protect her children, while also raising awareness about the issues of abuse and captivity. Number 1. Omar bin Omran, a teenager from Algeria, was kidnapped in 1998, during the Algerian Civil War. He was held captive by his neighbor for an astonishing 26 years, hidden in a makeshift cellar just 100 meters from his own home. The kidnapping occurred when Omar was on his way to school. His family, fearing the worst amidst the ongoing conflict, assumed he had been abducted and killed by one of the warring factions. However, Omar's mother clung to the hope that he was still alive, a belief that ultimately proved to be true. In 2024, a family dispute led to the revelation of Omar's captivity. The kidnapper's brother, embroiled in an inheritance conflict, revealed the secret, leading to Omar's rescue by Algerian authorities. The discovery of Omar alive after so many years was a remarkable turn of events, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the tragedies of the Algerian Civil War. Here are the movies and documentaries regarding this video. Warning: these videos and documentaries contains disturbing content. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of true crime kidnappings. If you want part 2, leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime content.